I'm Lucy Hoyle, I'm a cat behaviourist and author. Don't forget to subscribe to learn more, blah blah. So today I'm talking about scratching and how to provide the perfect scratch post and things to bear in mind when we're trying to redirect cats away from the furniture and onto something more appropriate. So there's another video knocking around about why cats scratch on furniture, which is important to understand why that's happening to try to redirect them. But this video should cover what you need to know about providing the perfect scratch post. So first of all is to make sure that your cat post or cat tree or whatever it is you want your cat to scratch on is tall enough for your cat to stretch up to their full height and really pull down and have that space to do that. Because while they're scratching, they don't want to do it like this. They often really want to reach up tall and have a proper good stretch as well, because they're not just maintaining their claws, they're also stretching all their muscles in their forelimbs as well. So if your scratch post is tiny, and lots of them are, you know, look around pets at home and I'm like, well, that's too small, that's too small, that's too small. Or you have a cat tree that's got like little sections, which might be a great big cat tree, but only tiny sections for scratching on, then you might find that they don't actually do the job, or they do, but it's not as good as scratching on the sofa, because they can have a proper pull down on that arm, because it's just the perfect height on the arm of the sofa. So make sure you've got one that's big enough. I really like the ones that are really wide and really tall as well. So you don't have to have a great big cat tree, although you know I do love a great big cat tree. But yeah, the really thick ones that are like a great big barrel, they're really good to have a great big stretch and pull down on. Similarly to that is to make sure that it's sturdy enough as well. So you might have a great big one, but over time, if it's become quite worn, if it's got a bit rickety, if it's sort of coming apart, then they can't really pull down on it without it sort of bowling over or feeling like it's a bit wobbly. Then again, they're not going to want to do it on that because it doesn't feel stable enough. And again, the bad thing about sofas and carpets is that they don't budge, so they can have a proper good dig on those things, and so that becomes more attractive or more suitable for maintaining their claws than the post. So make sure it's really big and really sturdy. So like a really heavy duty scratch post does a really good job. Next is to think about the material that your cat likes to scratch on. So most of the cat trees have like that sisal rope that's all worn around, like wound around the posts, and lots of cats do go for that, and that's great. You might find when it's brand new, it might be a bit stiff, so you might want to like brush it up with a bit of a wire brush or cut into it a little bit, just to like loosen up the fibres to get them going. And then as time goes on, they should do that themselves. But some cats prefer other things, and this is when you might prefer, your cat does prefer the sofa over the post if they don't like the sisal rope, but that's all there is. But actually the sofa is like more of like a hessian material, or easier for them to like really dig their claws in and really pull down. So you might find that you need a different substrate or a different material for your cat to scratch on. So I really like the cardboard ones as well, like a corrugated card. It's usually like a board type one, or sometimes they come in like really fancy shapes, like a chaise lounge, or I had one that was like a laptop before, and you opened it up and there was like a scratch pad in there, which was very random, but fine. So yeah, so you might find they need something a bit softer on their claws, and cardboard can do that job. Or you can get tons of different things. You can get like hessian pads, like a scratch board that you can mount onto a wall, or they go like over the arm of the sofa, or they go on the floor and they can scratch on that. So you might want to try a few different things to figure out what it is they prefer to scratch on, and that might take the heat off your sofa. Also, have a think about what angle your cat likes to scratch on. So we traditionally think they want to scratch up, and they do. So they do that on fence posts, they do that on the arms of the sofa, but you might find that they also do it on flat surfaces. So this is your cats that tend to scratch on carpet, and they might jump up onto the arm of the sofa and have a dig there. So if your cat likes to scratch downwards, then again, the cardboard scratches are perfect for that. Or you can get some hessian ones or the sisal ones that are flat. So have a shop around to see if your cat actually would prefer something flat rather than something upright. Or again, the choice, give them the choice and see what they like. That's especially important for older cats as well, because you might notice as they get older, their joints are not so supple, and they might not want to scratch up high and scratch, they might prefer to do it down low. So again, bear in mind as your cat changes, as they get older, then their requirements might change too for what they're scratching on. Some scratch pads are also like diagonal as well, or they're like I've seen a few that sort of start flat and then they go up into like a little wave shape, I guess is what I'm thinking of. But it just gives lots of options for them to scratch in a different way. So try different things and see what works. But yeah, definitely those scratch boards work a treat if your cat's scratching on the stairs, or like rugs and carpets, then you can place one nearby. Another thing to think about is the location of where it is they're scratching. And I spoke before about cats often will scratch because they're marking, so it might not necessarily be the sofa they want to scratch on, but that's in the perfect place and as a nice territorial marker to have a good scratch there and leave their scent behind. So you might find that you need something in that place to allow them to mark that's not on your sofa. So again, it's not great to have a great big cat tree in the middle of your room, but you could use a smaller post or you can use a board. Put that nearby, and then once they're using it consistently, you can try gradually moving it away and see if they follow with it and be like, okay, fine, I can mark that a couple of meters away in a more convenient location and see if that works. But it's probably a good idea while you install your new scratch post to cover over the place that, like the unwanted place. So if it's that they're scratching on your sofas, then temporarily cover them over with something, even if it's like a blanket or a throw, to make sure they can't like get a grip on the actual sofa, and that's going to cause them to think, oh, okay, what else shall I use? And then you want your perfect scratch post or scratch outlet next to it, so they can be like, oh, okay, fine, I'll just use this. So you're sort of redirecting them into something more appropriate. Another couple of things to think about is that you need to make sure there's enough cat trees or scratch balls or whatever. Again, they will be marking when they use it, so you might find they have a preference for something that's heavily marked. And if you're in a multi-cat household, they might not want to use the same one, although in my experience they do tend to share, which is fine. And make sure that they are in multiple places in your home. You don't just want one scratch outlet, because they'll probably wake up from a sleep in the bedroom, want a bit of a scratch. So if your cat tree is in your living room, then you don't want them to have to come all the way through the house to try and find that. You'll probably find they just have a go on your divan bed instead. So make sure there's enough. Think about the spaces in your home that the cat uses and try to position your scratch outlets there so it's convenient and it's easy for them to make that choice as, oh, okay, I'll just use that because it's convenient and it is meeting all my needs. Finally, I would just mention that some cats like to scratch on things when they're outside. So if you have a catio, then it might be useful, like if you don't want your cat to go outside, but you don't want to bring in like tree stumps or fence posts inside, obviously that's not going to work very well. But in a catio, then you can put those things in place. So I think that covers it all. Let me know what your cat likes to scratch on in the comments, and I will see you next time. Take care.